meeting is being recorded.
Hello,
Hello.
good morning. How's everyone doing? I'm just admitting some few people more and we get started. How's the drawings coming along?
Good. Just
I
wait.
think you're on mute, Shelly.
I don't know if the audio is good here.
Yeah,
The tablet.
now I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. I haven't been practicing a lot on this week, but
Right, yeah. Okay.
trying to not overthink so much about
Right.
the match.
Hello, everyone else. How's it going? So, any new students today? Whoever has not joined before, you can let me know. I think most of the faces, most of the people are quite familiar. And you can hear me okay, right? So just give me a thumbs up. All right, okay. Let's begin. Okay, so I'm going to just highlight my screen. And you can see that today I have a very elaborate background. And the reason is that we are going to be studying something called as abstraction. Okay, like abstraction. This is an elephant, but it has the ears of a butterfly. Now, what does that mean? How does this help us in our drawings? Can anyone tell me about this idea of abstraction? Or if you have come in some of my previous classes, you must have seen some things about it. But if it's totally new to you, tell me in the comments or talk about it. And because we're going to get into it right now. So, do you know about this concept in drawing or is it new? You can write in the chat. I don't know if I'm audible. Is it a new concept?
For me, it's new. I never done before.
Okay, abstraction. All right, so the idea behind abstraction is basically tapping into the creative side of our brains and essentially using this kind of imaginative approach in interpreting from reality and making it an abstract concept. For example, if I was to draw an elephant with like big ears, to get it accurate, to get the shape of the ears accurate and be more um, like just more focused on the details of it. Whenever I shift my focus from it being not a ear but maybe being something else, in this case it's a butterfly, it can be whatever you want, you somehow take the pressure off of being super academic or being really, really focused on getting all of the details right. So, how does it look like in reality? Like, how do we apply this concept of abstraction in our drawings? Okay, I'm going to show you that in just 1 second. Let me just admit one more person who is trying to join, and I will let me share the slide so that you are looking at what I'm. Okay, so abstraction is good. For 1 second, until I share my screen, just go ahead and read this slide so that you know what we're getting into. And I'm just going to admit a couple more people. Okay. All right. Okay, so basically, it doesn't necessarily mean abstract art, but it is using the creative mode of our mind to find interesting shapes in the details of the subject. Okay? In the given example, the face of the model is divided into big blocks of shapes to signify the hair, the mass. So, to signify the hair mass. So, basically, I'm not drawing just one hair. I'm drawing this as a whole shape. Do you see how it's very easily translated? So if this is one unit, this is one unit. Then to signify the hair mask, the face mask, the shadow shape of the features. So you see that there is a beautiful shadow shape that's happening here. Today we are going to explore this concept in detail. And you'll see how it can be really fun and like kind of simplifying your entire. So you see, I'm not really drawing just the eye or just the. One second. This thing doesn't work properly. One second. Okay. So basically, this is one big dark shape that I am dividing the whole side of the shadow into. Let's just call it the shadow shape. Okay. The method makes us look at things in an abstract way and helps release some of the boundaries caused by excess analytical thinking. We're not going to get into anatomy and like lots of details. Basically, we're gonna just try and have a little bit of fun with a realistic subject today, but make it more fun. Okay. Note, look for shapes like you do in clouds. For example, we see many different animals, trees, maps, etc. in clouds. So apply the same creative brain for this approach. Some of these examples you can see here that even though the artists here, they are different artists, have somehow portrayed a face, but still using very like kind of distinct shapes for the eyes, for the nose. You can still tell that it's a face, you know. So let's just put this technique to use. And in the chat, I'm going to share the image that we're going to draw today. And let's begin. I will also share my screen where I will be drawing real time. Okay, so that's the image that we are going to draw. And let's just take a minute here to understand what is happening and if you can abstract it. Okay. So let me share this screen just to try and see what shapes we have here. Okay, I think you can see my screen. Now, I notice that, okay, this is one kind of mountain. This is definitely one big shape that's happening here. Yeah. Yes, we are drawing this figure, but we are using the technique of abstraction, Damian. What you're going to do is only look at the dark shape. Like that's one dark shape, right? I know it's a little bit difficult or intimidating, but you see, when I isolate this, it looks like maybe Batman or some kind of like sunglasses, like really cool sunglasses. So whenever, and you'll see that it's like a jigsaw puzzle. So this is one shape in the big jigsaw puzzle. Okay, so that's one shape. Then I see this kind of big shape here. Again, it continues something like this here. Wait. Okay, you'll start to notice these things in reality, in life. Whenever you see a shadow shape happening in, I don't know, maybe you're going out for a walk and you see shadows of people, or you are just like interacting with someone, and you will automatically start to see these kind of distinct shapes in the faces, in objects, in some kind of, basically everything has this kind of. So here I notice that this is one, right? This is one nice shape happening. So it's quite a distinct and beautiful method of isolating the dark and the light shapes. Okay, you see this is one big shape happening here. So don't think that this is an eye. Don't think that this is a nose. Only think, okay, I'm going to start by drawing this shape here. Check how much is the distance between this dark shape and this dark shape. So the distance is somehow this shape. You automatically get this shape, the light shape. You see? All right. Let's just put this to action. Okay, don't worry, it's not as scary as it looks. If you have any questions before we continue, please ask me and we'll get started. I will share my other screen. All right, I'm not in my house today. I'm not in my studio today, but I think it should not be so bad. Like it should be pretty visible. All right. Just give me a thumbs up if you can see everything fine. All right. I know it's a bit wonky, but you'll get the idea. I'll try to make it as sweet. Yeah, I think that's better. Perfect. Now, you may open all the image that I have sent to you in your devices. And I'm going to first do a small demo and try and just go. You just try once. So feel free to use the side of your pencils as well. Now, if you want, go ahead and do the warm-up exercise that we do. So basically just using a piece of paper. I'll do it on this thing that I have already drawn something on. So just go ahead and start the warm-up. Open up your hand by drawing some straight lines, by drawing some circles, by drawing some abstract shapes, like doesn't really need to mean anything, but you can invent some things. You can just do some scribbling as well. This is just to get into the zone. Okay, doesn't really have to be anything more than that. Just 1 minute of this and your brain gets into the zone. Okay, now. So in the other classes, we have studied things like this. All right, let's begin. My biggest, most evident shape in this drawing, in this portrait, is the eye shape. Okay, so I see that it's a very clear V shape that's happening. So I'm going to try and interpret it as close as possible. I think my video is mirroring 1 second. Yeah, I think that should be better. Okay. So I'm starting with the shape, the dark shape of the eyes, which is a clear V like a triangular thing. Okay, going very easy and simple, and it somehow is connecting there, and it's somehow giving me this kind of straight line. Okay, now all the work that we are going to do today is very intentional. So we are going very slow. We are going very methodical, super like gentle with our drawings. So try to be as sensitive as possible. Okay. Okay. I see that if I move it here, I think this comes to further. And then I see some kind of like imagine that these are sunglasses. Okay, it kind of looks like sunglasses. Studying from sculptures is a great way to train your skills, especially when it comes to doing portraits, because the sculptor has already simplified many of the details that we are probably struggling with when we are drawing from a real face. So, making use of another artist's talent helps us in creating better decisions for ourselves. Okay, then I see that this shape here is something like this. Okay, I know it doesn't look like anything now, but as soon as I put slight, nothing too dark, but just a slight dark shade to it, you will recognize this as the shape of the eye. This is a very new, different approach that we are trying today. Because we have been studying the Loomis method and different structures, but in this class, I want to make available to you many different approaches so that you can mix and match, see what works for you, and create things that feel better to you. So if this doesn't work for you, at least you try it today and see how it feels. But it's a very, very helpful. Okay, so I think that's a good enough shape for my eye. Now see, let's see where is this guiding us? This is kind of like a map. Okay, this is the first destination of our big map. So let's say that this is, I don't know, Barcelona. Okay, this is Barcelona. Now, next to Barcelona on this map, somewhere here, is another state. I don't know, like Andorra or something. Okay, so how is it connected? What is the map telling us? It's somehow this shape that is another sort of mountain or triangle. Okay, quite simple. Just this shape is giving us the idea for this one. Okay, now this is let's call it the mother figure. This shape, the eye shape, let's call it the mother figure, or let's call it Barcelona, whatever it is. So Barcelona is basically giving us Andorra. And then it's also giving us this little triangular shape that's happening here. No, it's connected. These shapes are completely connected. Right? So I'm going to go ahead and you obviously notice that this is darker than this. Why is that happening? Because this is more of kind of a internal eye socket. It's catching less light naturally. And this is the eyebrow area. So I will make this a bit lighter than my eye socket. Bit lighter. So I can tell the difference that it's not one big shape, it's two shapes connected. Same goes for this. Little bit long. Make sense? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, I'll continue. All right. So going ahead with this, just cleaning up some of the value. Okay, now let's see where this is directing us more. So we have this triangle. What is this triangle directly connected to? I don't see much, but I guess this shape here, let's see, it is, now we are not just looking at, one second, I think I'm not audible. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, perfect. Are you feeling intimidated by this particular drawing? You can be honest.
It's nice. For me, it's nice.
Okay. Okay, now let's see. So we have this one, right? Now let's see this on the cheekbone. The area under the cheekbone is causing a shadow shape. All right. Now from here to here, what is the distance? Let's check that. So that gives us, I'll just somehow feel it with my pencil. Something like this. No, it more or less looks like something like this. Okay. And then once we have that distance more or less, I'm going to check this inclination. It looks like a straight line, obviously. So I'll go ahead and place it very lightly. Very lightly. Okay. Once I have that, then let me check how the distance from here. So you see there is a very nice straight line happening from here to here. Such a good indicator. So this is already becoming one triangular pyramidal shape. You see this part, right? So we already have this, the upper line of this and the side of the pyramid, just because of these two lines. Okay, and let's see how I can break down this shape now. So from here to here, yes. From here to here, yes. And if I pull this shape a little further down, this one, somehow, somewhere here is where it's ending this line and connecting with the nose. Like I'll just put a simple straight line right now. Okay, and then try to find this shape here. Looks like a stingray to me somehow, like some kind of like sea creature. Okay, and here something like this. You see this, right? Something like an underwear, something like this, sorry. But it looks like a, like if it's like some kind of mostly like a triangular sort of a shape. You'll notice a lot of triangles. I'll tell you this. This is a good trick that you notice a lot of triangles happening in all the kinds of subjects that you see. So shadow shapes will be formed of course, there will be random abstract shapes, but there will be a lot of triangles. See, this is one triangle. Then this line, if I continue it down, is giving me the back of the head somehow. So it's like another triangle. And inside that, I see this one, and I see this kind of square, like a rectangle shape. And this extra area that is in the middle becomes the ear. You see, without drawing the ear, we already established it. By drawing the shapes around it. You see this 1, 2, 3, and 4. If I draw these things, then I just need to put 1 and something here, and I already have the shape of an ear. Make sense? Continuing this. Now I'm looking at the negative shape. So that is the background. So that is also forming a sort of V. You see 1 and 2. 2 lines give me the back of the V. Is it making sense? Give me thumbs ups, please. Perfect. Now, of course, it's not like 100% accurate. We go ahead and break it down slowly. But let's, since we are putting a like sort of dark value here, we go ahead and do that here as well. But this is the darkest dark. Okay, let's put a touch of more dark. I'm not making the whole thing dark now, but just so that we know that this is the darkest dark. Everything else is going to be lighter than this. So don't go around making everything too dark. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a slight light right here. This continues here. This continues. This probably needs to come a little bit more in and smaller, I feel. According to my calculation, this comes a little bit smaller. Okay, and then we have 1, we have 2. Let's go ahead and darken this a bit, the shape. Okay, more or less like this. And then let's see the ear. We have small shapes happening here. Some sort of oval that is cut. Okay, so this is one dark shape, and then the shape of the ear is quite distinct. It's like the liver. It's like the body part that is the liver. This is an interesting thing that I was actually reading about. That everything in your body has a mimic shape inside it. Like this looks like the part that is inside our system, like the liver or the stomach. Then similar like studies like this, like brain, the I don't know, pathways of the brain resemble the intestines. So it's like your body somehow has patterns. Okay, so this nice shape that's happening here, not too perfect, but I have done care right now. It's supposed to be a study. So I go ahead and break that down a little bit further and try and put it down. Something like this. Okay, we already have the equivalent. Super simple. Now, if I pull this down, that's okay. Now, this kind of you see this gray area is like a, I don't know, this. And then I will sort of straight line for the jaw. Something like this that continues here. So I'm just going to check this nice dark shape that's happening here. So it's taking there, and then something like this, right? Like this big triangle of darkness. Okay, sounds good? So after establishing these shapes, we are going to correct them. But first, right now in this study, we are just establishing the shapes. So I see that obviously this entire area here and this entire area here, something like this, are somehow quite dark. So I'm going to just make one triangle here and one triangle here. Okay, go ahead and put a darker value. By value, I mean dark or light. This is a dark value. This is a light value. Okay. These are all artistic terms that we use to describe. Basically, everything is dark and light. So we categorize them into dark is dark, light is light, and everything that falls in the middle. Okay, it's starting to look like something. Okay, we're gonna keep on breaking it further down, maybe correct some things, but at this point, not so important that. So from here, let's try and find. So that I see one of the plan here, and now coming back to this part, coming back here. Let's see the distance between this dark shape and this line that I've created. Maybe a little bit up. And then I notice that it is a triangle here. So let's see the light distance between here to here. Maybe a little bit further up. Something like this. And a triangle like this. So I see something like that. 1, 2, 3. Okay? Super simplified. It's like a little butterfly also. You see? Like if I draw the spine of the butterfly, it looks like a triangle. So this gives us the bottom of the nose, the shadow shape of the nose, and then it also gives us the mouth. So the mouth, look, there is our connection. If I bring it down, if I make it some sort of a V, this gives us the end of the mouth. So I'll just put a line here for the mouth and this. Okay, this is the top half of the lip. So the shadow shape of the upper lip. It's something like shape. I'll just go ahead, put it like slide dark. And this directs us. So I'm also going to darken this shadow shape. You see how it's starting to evolve? It's starting to come ahead, the face, with a very, very different sort of approach. But it works. And it works better than anything else because, like this, you literally let your imagination do the work. Look for dark shapes, look for light shapes, look for how they are connected, and you start to build something instead of being like super accurate, super academic, super analytical, super like anatomical. You somehow make your brain to think in a very different manner and break down um, these shapes to give you the result very quickly and very efficiently, but also have fun in the process. Okay, so this is my upper lip, and this somehow directs me to the lower one. So this is my direction line, you see, and then I have my shadow shape. So I go ahead and create that shadow shape simply like this. It's something like that. Go ahead and darken it. Okay, and then you see that this dark, the gray shape gives me. Now, of course, things are bound to change, which is going to happen. So I keep myself quite flexible and I let myself. So I create this a different triangular shape here. And just try and see the negative shape here. So it's like 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, I do that. Okay, it starts to look like our model, which is an old, the sculpture of an old man. Any questions at this point? Okay, no question, good. Going ahead, I come back now to the upper half of the face, okay? Now this is our mother figure, our mother shape. What we did is established one shape. After establishing one shape, we saw what is connected to that. Okay. Then after establishing that, we saw what is connected to that, and so on and so forth. So in this approach, we are seeing how things are connected to each other through these nice guiding lines. Make sense? Okay, now, one thing that I notice here is this the triangle. Then maybe this line, I need it to out. So I just go ahead and correct it super easily. Very simple. Okay. Now, why did I notice that? Right now I'm standing, okay? I'm standing and drawing this on the easel. So what I'm doing is basically going back, like actually walking back and coming further, which gives me a lot of perspective to see my drawing from a little bit of distance so that I can check what is correct and what is wrong. Okay, so try to do this in your works where you just take a little bit of step back, take a little distance, put your drawing further away from you. Like maybe if it's here, let me zoom out. So you can see that when I zoom in, we have a different vision of things, right? And when I zoom out, it's more, you see the whole picture much better. So try always to take breaks between your works and gain perspective by putting the work a little bit further. Okay, so moving further from here, now going back to my motherland, going back to Barcelona, I will try to check how this here, okay, I see here, but I see a light shape here. Like if I was to isolate, let me draw this on the thing. Okay, if I was to isolate just this shape here. It is a light shape, right? It's where, so if this is the dark shape, this is the light shape, simple. This is the gray shape, something like this. This is the gray shape. So what do we have here? We have darkest dark. We have light. So this is supposed to be a D, okay? D for dog. Darkest dark, lightest light, and gray. This is also gray. Okay, so we are basically looking for shapes with the darkest dark, lightest light, and the grays. Okay, it's pretty simple when you think about it. So I isolate my lightest light. Okay, and then try to see the gray shape. This one, two, is like a sleep rectangular figure. And then on top of that, let's see this. How is this? What? This is here, this is here. And then the nose, I'll just make one line here. Give me the nose. Okay. And here on top, he has some kind of a little mountain head. So, like this light shape here. After I have this, I can easily see like this is like a hill or a sort of small mountain. So, if I just isolate this and connect it to my, this is just letting you know the general shape of it. Your pencil will do the work. Okay, maybe my mountain is a little too pointy on top, so I can just go ahead and flatten it because we don't want it to be funny. Little funny, but not. Okay, so going there. I'm traveling, seeing the contours, checking how it's looking, giving an impression of my figure. I think that looks more or less like our character. I think some things could be better. So at this stage now, okay, I'm gonna just now getting a little bit of a bigger figure and going ahead and just completing my, like, seeing what is missing and just trying to get the idea. Now I think what I see here, let's correct now. We're in the correction stage, okay? So I'm going to take a minute and zoom out a little bit, analyze this drawing. According to me, honestly speaking, I think this needs to come a little bit more for it to look a little more accurate. Okay, I think that was a very important corrections. In my case, you will have different corrections because we all see things differently. So try to go ahead, take a step back, put your drawing a little bit further away, and see how you can correct some things in your answers. Just take a minute. I'm going to stop drawing for some time, for 2 minutes, get a glass of water, and I would like you to take this time to analyze your drawings. Okay, cool. No worries, Shali. See you. Okay, what else? I see some more changes that could happen. For example, like this part could be more. So here we are in the correction stage, which is good because we have established more or less everything, and then we just go ahead and start to refine our drawings. Any questions so far with the process, or with, if you see that my drawing has some changes that you think could be better, please go ahead and tell me so that I can also get perspective from you guys. Often correcting other people's works makes our own work better because we see it from a more neutral perspective when we are seeing someone else's drawing. So we look at it not very in an attached manner. So giving constructive criticism to each other is actually a good technique to be better. And also as artists, we should not take it like, "Oh, how could you say that to me? How could she criticize my work?" I think it's better to take it in a more constructive way, that it's a community of artists helping ourselves to grow, helping each other to grow. So better to have like an open and good exchange of thoughts. Of course, we're here to be respectful, always, all the time. So making sure that you are respectful, but at the same time, having a good exchange of artistic visions is really important to grow. Now I'm going ahead and just trying to refine my drawing. Okay. So if there are some shapes that you think could be better, go ahead and better. Then try to now, I might just go dark this to see how it's looking generally. And then once I make this dark, obviously everything else is like a domino effect. Everything is connected. So this becomes a little bit darker. Then this becomes a little bit dark. A good tip for shadow shapes, so you feel like you are being clean and consistent, is to follow one kind of rhythm. Of course, this is your own personal choice. I don't, it's not a rule, it's just something that works for me personally. Okay, so now adding some details, just here, let us see here, gives me a good idea of this shape here. Then I will darken this part a little bit. Slowly, slowly get there. Of course, this entire thing needs to be darkened also. A great technique to go fast as well is to take a sort of blunt pencil, something that is not very sharp, and this is a 4B pencil. A 4B. Now, a good thing at this point, if you want to go really fast, is to just use the side of your pencil, and it covers a larger area. Okay. Now I see this. So, shapes are bound to change slightly, so be open to that. if I keep checking the dimension, it's like this. Okay. Now, obviously, this part is catching more light, right? This is the light source. This part is getting some of the most light, right? If it's quite a, it's like a gradient, light, lighter than, so light, slightly darker, because it's, imagine if this is a landscape, then this is a hole in the landscape. This is the mountain and this is the valley. Mountain, valley. Okay. Then some kind of sleek road and then a valley again. So that's why it's darker. So it's like going in. So if you start thinking in these are, I know that these are many different thought processes, but all of them. Yeah. So here will obviously be darker. Like look at this part, and look at this part. So this and this will not be equal, right? This will be darker than this. So all of the here is one. So I'll just put a general light gray value. It's like once you see it, you cannot unsee it. But until you haven't seen it, you don't even know that this is happening. Mhm. Once you are aware of this situation, then you're like, oh yeah, that's super simple. That's like so obvious. Okay, I see that it's happening here as well. So I'm just going ahead and adding a slight grayness to whatever that is not looking white. To me, this part is white and just this little shape is white. And the probably the bridge of the nose is white. Everything else is kind of gray. So I'm going to go ahead with blue. But super gently, nothing that is too strong. I say gently because you have to be careful of the paper that you're working on. Paper should not be destroyed, otherwise it doesn't do what it's supposed to. If this is my darkest dark, then slightly more, maybe slightly more. And I can go very fast with this pencil, which is quite blunt. So it makes sense, right? Give me some feedback or give me some um, notes, like tell me what you're doing, how is it going. It's good for me to know what stage that you are in. Okay. So we are at the finishing stage of our drawings, and you can see that it's starting to look like our model, right? Quite a lot. It is giving the impression of a model. And the process that we have used today is called abstraction. I see a little bit of light just on the corner, so I'm going to get this out. Okay, now you're a bit darker. You're a bit darker. So now it's like a game, just to see once we have the shapes. Now, what can I make darker? What can I make lighter? It's like a game. So if you think like that, you take a lot of pressure off from inside. And in the meantime, you establish something that looks really solid. So you see what I'm doing. I have the main shape. Now I'm just adding some details to it. I will actually let this shape be quite loose because somehow it's a part of the light. So we don't really need it to be too dark. Okay, so basically if I was to say this is the light family, this part, the head, and this is the dark family. Dark family means like the dark dark, dark gray, and here we have light is light, so white, light gray, light basically values that are more breathable. So we kind of let that be. We don't put too much information. Keeping our lights quite clean is what it's called. So we can keep on developing this for hours and hours, but I think I got across the general idea of what I wanted to show you, the technique today, abstraction, and you have yourself a nice old man who, who looks quite humble, and I think the idea is to get the impression of that. So I'm going gradually dark. Okay. It's a bit dark as well, but I think you're there. Now just a few strong strokes to finalize my shapes and so yeah, I think that's pretty accurate, good technique. I think we studied abstraction like it is supposed to. And Once you are done with your works, it would be great to be able to see it. And I'll leave you here with this technique and try and practice it as much as possible. And once again, I'll just take my video to the other one.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope it was a good class.
Yeah, it was great.
And if it's something that you discovered, something new, then tell me how you felt about it as well, so that I understand what your mind process is. And I'll see you in the next one. All right. Hope to see some pictures in the group.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Amazing. All right. See you.
Right.
Bye bye.